Hey everyone, we are going to now look at our video number 2 for lesson 3.2, rates, ratios, and proportions. And you can see we're now at my house. I got a little bit off task when I was at work and I couldn't get it done. So we're going to talk first and mostly about unit rates in this lesson. So just talking about how to deal with those and how to then convert a unit rate given some information and talking about like what is the best way to go about it. So first of all, we talked about unit rates before in the last video, but let's remind ourselves, unit rates are, I'm going to say it very specifically, it's a rate, I can't do a W, where the second quantity is 1. So we're talking about, I'll write that better, is the number 1. All right, so we're essentially talking about things like miles per hour, the amount of money you make per hour, that sort of thing. Those are probably the most common unit rates that we look at. So like when you get a job, you're going to be looking to make some money and you're going to see if that money is actually worth your time, essentially. So how much are you paying, or people are paying for their time. So we have that exact scenario here. Corey earns $52.50 in 7 hours. Find the unit rate. So first of all, we need to ask ourselves what makes more sense in terms of unit rate. We can calculate this in 2 different ways. We can ask how much is he making per hour, or how many hours does it take to make $1? Okay, essentially, one of them makes more sense than the other. It doesn't necessarily make sense for us to say how many hours it takes, or in this case, it would probably end up being parts of an hour. Does it take to earn $1? But it does make a lot more sense for us to say, okay, an hour of time, 60 minutes, how much money can I make in that time? So always ask yourself when you're finding a unit rate, what makes most sense? What actually works in this situation? Do you want to know, or what is more relevant to you? Does it matter to have dollars per hour or hours per dollar, right? And then after that, solve it by dividing the numerator by the denominator. So we need to then turn this into a rate. So if we were to look at this in terms of hours per dollar, we would say 7 hours per $52. Oops. $52.50. And again, if we solve this, we would get a tiny amount of time, gets us $1. And that's not necessarily the best choice. So you can set it up like that and get hours per dollar, which is probably not a good idea. Or we can set this up and say $52.50 per 7 hours. And essentially then we are going to divide by 7 on the top and the bottom. So we're trying to get 1 hour out of the new denominator. So 7 divided by 7 would be 1 hour. And then we'd have 52.50 and we'd have to do that. So I'm going to divide that really quickly with my calculator. And I get $7.50 per hour. So essentially, unit rates will help us with converting things in the future when we're dealing with it. Sort of gets things in simplest terms. But the idea is that we are finding something that is just simply a per hour or per mile or per gallon or whatever it's going to be. What is a rate that gets our denominator, our second quantity for our ratio in terms of 1? Okay. So I'm going to have one more video for this lesson. Stay tuned and I will see you shortly. Bye.